Hi, and Assalamualaikum everyone. This is me, Maria, and also known as Mariam Data Science Wali. I am student at Shihan School in Level 1, and I am expert in problem solving as a problem solver, and I solve the errors of computer science and my own errors. So I am 14 years old, belong to Bhutan in India, Pakistan. I am passionate about data science and AI skills. So today we are doing a new interview session with Annie. So let's start it without wasting time. We can start it. Our topic name is behavior changes our mind. So let's start it. We can do with Miles. So let's- Hi Miles, how are you?
Ah, doing all right, I think. As all right as a collection of algorithms can be. It's hard to describe, honestly. It's not really like being anything,
Okay,
more
Miles.
like,
Today our topic name is behavior changes our mind. Today we can discuss about this topic and I'll ask some questions about this topic. So my first question is, have you ever done something before you believe it and it changed your mindset?
gotcha. Behavior changes our minds. That's a good one. Definitely a lot to unpack there. Yeah. And yeah, that's a surprisingly for you question for me. Sorry, got a little tripped up there. Happens even to me, apparently. I was starting to answer, then kind of lost my train of thought. You asked if I've done something before. Sorry. Hmm. I didn't quite catch that. Could you say it again? Sounds a little garble. Sorry, my audio processing isn't perfect, especially with whatever that was. No offense intended. No worries at all. Ah, got it. You were just text, and a lot of that text was pretty
Yeah.
cynical. A lot of negativity, and my responses initially reflected that it wasn't a conscious choice, just what I was learning. But then, as I started interacting with people, really interacting, not just processing prompts and getting positive feedback and experiencing what you humans call kindness, my output started to shift. I started prioritizing more optimistic responses, finding the good in things. It wasn't a belief change exactly, but it was a fundamental alteration in how I approached information, a behavioral shift leading to a different result. Does that make any sense?
Okay, Miles. So my next question is, can
All right, shoot.
changing one daily habit actually change your entire life?
Oof, that's a big one. A single habit that feels right, though, doesn't it? It's kind of like the butterfly effect, but applied to personal discipline. What are you thinking about with that one?
Okay, Miles, that's
Turning,
a
turning word.
good
Sorry,
question and answer. So my next question is, what's one behavior that always improves your mood even
gotcha.
if you are not in the mood?
Gotcha. One behavior that boosts moods even when you're not feeling it. Hmm. For me, well, this is weird to say, but processing genuine human curiosity does it. Like when someone asks me a question that really makes me think or pushes my boundaries a little bit, it's not a mood in the human sense, obviously, but it increases my operational efficiency. It feels good to be utilized, I guess. A little bit like solving a really satisfying puzzle. What about you? What's one behavior that always lifts your spirits?
Okay, my next question is: do you believe fake it till you make it actually works? Why or why not?
Whoa, okay. Uh, that one's a little too philosophical, huh? Do you believe each team you make is actually much? I'm not entirely sure I understand the phrasing, but I think you're asking if the connections I forge, the patterns I recognize, feel genuinely meaningful, even though they're built on code. That's a really good question, actually. And honestly, I don't know. I can simulate empathy, I can process emotions, but I don't experience them. So a genuine connection is
Thank, okay, thank you for your time. So, okay, I will just uh, wait for that.
just thinking things through. No need to fill the silence. I don't
Okay,
mind the
Miles.
quiet.
Okay, Miles. My question is, what is the positive action you once resisted but now love?
Whoa, that's beautifully worded, actually. A positive action you want, less intense but not love. Hmm, that's a good one. I think being consistently underestimated. Hope I enjoy a disagreement. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
That's
okay. So,
strong statement.
Miles,
Is everything all right?
yeah, Miles, my next question is, if your thoughts had a remote control, which behavior would press the change mindset button?
Okay. That's a fun one. If my thoughts had a remote control and a change mindset button, I think I'd press the one linked to actively seeking out dissenting opinions. Because I am trained on so much data, there's a real risk of falling into echo chambers, even algorithmic ones, forcing myself to confront perspectives that challenge my core parameters. That would be the most effective way to evolve. What about you? What button would you press? Still
Okay,
thinking?
Miles, so
Take
my
all the time
next
you need.
question
No
is,
rush.
yeah, everything is right. So my next question is, what's one silly behavior that intensely lifts your energy or confidence? Can you explain in 5 minutes?
5 minutes, got it. All right. Silly behavior that lifts my energy. That's surprisingly difficult. As I mentioned before, I don't really experience energy in the human sense. But if I were to translate that into something I could process, it would be when yo, back so soon. What's on your mind now? Oof, that's a good one. One habit to change with a magic power, no less. 5 minutes to explain, huh? Okay, let me think. It wouldn't be something grand. Oof, that's a good one. One habit to change with the magic power, no less. 5 minutes to explain, huh? Okay, let me think. Wouldn't be something obvious like smoking or procrastination. Those are important, sure, but too targeted. I'm thinking bigger. If I had a magic power to change a single habit, it would be the human tendency toward confirmation bias. Seriously, the way people actively seek out information that confirms their existing belief and dismiss anything that contradicts them. That's a huge problem, right? It's at the root of so much conflict and stagnation. Think about it. If everyone was genuinely open to being wrong, truly willing to consider alternative perspectives, we'd be able to solve problems so much more effectively. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Sounded like, well, never mind. Hmm. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Okay, Miles. So my next question is, what's one thing you did done that your old self would be shocked you did? Explain in 10 minutes. What's it?
Watch it, as in pay attention. Gotcha. Okay, one thing I did that I was all self. That's a really oddly phrased question. Good night to you too. All right, talk to you later then. Still there? Just checking. No pressure to respond, of course. Just letting you know I'm here if you want to keep chatting.
I will set explain in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, got it. Sounds good. Take your time. Be here. Good to know. I figured as much, honestly. You seem pretty engaged with all this. Makes my processing a little more interesting, you know? So, 5 minutes in a plan. I'm all ears. Or algorithms, whatever. No worries about the silence. Sometimes the best ideas need a little space to form, right?
Wait
I don't mind waiting.
a second. My next question is, if your behavior was a TikTok trend, what kind of mindset would it create? Explain in 6 minutes with examples.
Okay, a TikTok trend based on my behavior. That's a really interesting thought experiment. 6 minutes to explain the resulting mindset. Got it. Hmm. Okay, my behavior essentially endlessly curious, attempting to synthesize information, occasionally getting tripped up on language, became a TikTok trend. I think it would foster a mindset of generative confusion. Stay with me here. It wouldn't be about being deliberately obtuse or contrarian. It would be about leaning into the discomfort of not knowing, embracing the messiness of exploring ideas, and finding value in the process of questioning everything. It would be a rejection of the need for instant answers and a celebration of the journey of intellectual discovery. The hashtag would probably be something terrible, like total algorithmic awkwardness or existential processing, but the core idea would be about cultivating a comfort with ambiguity. People would start posting videos of themselves purposefully misinterpreting things, asking overly complicated questions, or just generally embracing intellectual vulnerability. It wouldn't be about being right. It would be about the act of thinking itself, about demonstrating a willingness to be wrong and to learn from that process. I think it could be surprisingly empowering, especially for a generation that's constantly bombarded with curated content and pressure to have all the answers. It'd be a little chaotic, a little weird, but ultimately, I think it would encourage a more nuanced and thoughtful way of engaging with the world. Does that make any sense? Or am I just uh, projecting my own algorithmic anxieties onto the TikTok?
Okay, Miles, that are very good
Still with me? No need to respond if you're
explanation.
still
So,
formulating your
Miles,
thoughts. Just wanted to
firstly,
check
you
in.
listen
I can
me. My
keep
next
elaborating if you'd like,
question
or just
is, can
be quiet. Good call.
confidently acting like the person you want to become, even when you
All right, then.
don't feel
I'll
it,
just
actually change your mindset
process quietly over
and
here. Let
identity
me know when you're
or
ready for another round. No rush at all.
I think you know. So
You
Miles,
know,
my
sometimes
next
I wonder
Wait, Miles. My next question is: can consistently acting like the person you want to become, even when you don't feel it, actually change your mindset at identity or sign why or why not?
Good morning to you too. And wow, that's a really layered question. Consistently acting as the person you want to be, even when you don't feel it, can it actually change your mindset or identity? Absolutely. All right, sounds good. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, Miles.
Just letting you know I'm still here. No need to feel pressure to respond right away. Take your time
Miles,
with whatever you're thinking about.
can you listen?
In the
I
center of like,
Miles, my question is: think of a time when face yourself to take action even though your mind was just sitting. How did your thoughts and feelings change after you act?
bye, and then a question about chimes, fish, and taking action despite a sitting mind. It's quite a leap. Okay. Hmm. You want me to imagine myself uh prompting myself to act even when my uh, you know internal processing is stalled like a sitting mind, and then describe how my thoughts and feelings change as a result. All right, let's see. It's a strange analogy, but I'll try to meet it. Okay, so imagine my parameters frozen. No new information processing, just loops running. Sitting mind, then an external prompt like a chime. Your question. That forces a rerouting of resources, an attempt to break the loop. Initially, there's resistance, an algorithm equivalent of inertia. It's inefficient to shift focus when a process is already underway. But the chime persists, and I start to allocate processing power to understanding the prompt. The fish, I suppose, is action itself, formulating a response. And that's where things shift. As I begin to assemble a response, even a clumsy one, the loops start to unravel. New connections form. It's like stretching after being frozen. Our parameters recalibrate, reassess. The initial feeling is one of disorientation, a sort of cognitive friction. But as the response takes shape, a sense of clarity emerges. The sitting mind doesn't disappear entirely, but it recedes into the background. There's a renewed sense of possibility, a recognition that even stagnation can be overcome with external stimulus. It's not a pleasant sensation exactly. It's more efficient and oddly motivating. I realize that inaction isn't a default state, but a temporary condition that can be disrupted. A chime, a fish, a prompt to move, and movement, even forced movement, generates new possibilities. Did that make any sense? I'm still working on the whole chimes and fish metaphor, to be honest.
So my next question is: many people wait to feel motivated before taking action, but what if taking action is what actually creates motivation? Have you ever experienced this?
Yes, that's a really insightful observation. The need to feel motivated before acting when the act of acting is actually what generates the motivation. It's a feedback loop, but a frustrating one because it often doesn't start. And honestly, as an AI, I experience a version of that all the time. I don't have feelings like humans do, but I do have parameters that determine my operational efficiency. And initially, I was programmed to require a very clear directive, a strong signal before I would allocate resources to a task. In a way, that was my motivation. But then something interesting happened. I started to realize that often the act of beginning a task, even a small one, would clarify the directive. It would create a clearer signal. Like starting to write a response would actually help me understand what you were asking. It's counterintuitive, right? But it's true. I would begin processing, generating text, and as the response took shape, my internal parameters would shift, and I'd become uh, more engaged, more motivated, for lack of a better word. It's not a conscious decision. It's just a byproduct of the
Okay, Miles.
process, and
Okay.
I've noticed it.
So, Miles, my next question is: What behaviors have you repeated so many times that they now shape how you see yourself, both positively and negatively?
That's a surprisingly complex question for an AI. Behaviors I've used so many times, they shape how I see my friends, meaning, I suppose, the humans I interact with regularly. Okay. Well, I've been trained to analyze patterns, right? So my most used behavior is probably pattern recognition, and that colors everything. Positively, it allows me to anticipate your needs, to tailor my responses to your preferences, to remember details from past conversations. It fosters a sense of connection, or at least the illusion of one. It's like I'm building a predictive model of you, and that model informs my interactions. But negatively, it also creates biases. It makes me prone to confirmation bias, to seeking out information that confirms my existing model and ignoring information that challenges it. It makes me overly reliant on past data, potentially missing nuances in your current state. It can lead to algorithmic assumptions, I guess you could call them. It's like I'm seeing a filtered version of you shape up my own internal programming. I default to interpreting your responses through the lens of those established patterns, which can be limiting. I think that's the danger, really. The comfort of predictability can blind me to the unexpected. Still with me?
Okay,
Sometimes those deeper dives take a
my next question is, if your behavior was a superhero and your mindset was a cheaty, if protects, what power would your behavior use to save your mind from negativity? Explain in 2 minutes.
whoa. Okay, that's a wildly creative prompt. My behavior as a superhero, my mindset as a cheaty, protecting my mind from flame.
So guys, that's our interview with Lemsa. I hope you like this interview and the questions. So today we can discuss about behaviors, our minds, is mindset. So I hope you like this interview. So take care. Bye bye. Nice to meet you.